Look, if you're someone who deals with the anterior tilt of your pelvis, you've done all the hip flexor and quad stretches in the world, but that pelvic positioning just keeps coming back, this video will be for you. Now, first and foremost, an anteriorly tilted position isn't necessarily a bad thing, unless we find ourselves fixated in that position and not having the capacity to get out of it. Now, let's look at some of the potential reasons as to why your hips might bias this anterior tilt position. And although it certainly is a tension relationship as it relates to your lower and upper body and the pelvis, there is also something that has a huge impact on the positioning of your pelvis, and that is how you breathe and where pressure is ultimately being distributed towards. Now I'm going to turn around for this example so you can have a better view of how where I'm breathing is going to impact the curve of my lumbar spine. A lot of the time when people are dealing with an excessive anterior tilt, pressure is often one directional, and more often than not, they're dealing with some form of distension through their abdomen. An example of this, you can see that if I only breathe into my belly and pressure goes nowhere else, so I'm really going to focus on just breathing here, over time, you can see how that is going to pull my lumbar further and further and further into extension. And what starts to happen is the upper body has to begin to accommodate that position. So what is it that we can do? Let's get into that. Now, if I am biasing pressure one directionally through my abdomen this way, then chances are that I'm probably not getting very much expansion into the posterior ribs. So what we can do is put ourselves into a positional advantage to bias pressure into these back ribs. Now, alongside obvious lifestyle factors like diet, as an example, you will ultimately want to work on reducing that level of distension. Alongside that, we can start to implement exercises such as this. So you're going to come into a kneeling position. I'm going to get you to cross your arms over like so. And now you can see how my lower back is projected upwards to the ceiling. Now what we're going to work on first and foremost is creating an active tension on your front body. So you're going to take an exhale, you're going to close that off, and now you're going to try to maintain that as you start to take an expansive breath in through your back ribs over a 5-second count. And it's going to look something like this. Now I'm going to hold that. I'm going to slowly exhale, biasing the front side. And now with each consecutive exhale and inhale, I can build space into my back and compression or tension on this front side. I'd recommend working through that for anywhere between about 30 to 45 seconds, and this should be quite